so freaking bad. Wrestle me.
Welcome, everybody, to Juice Pro Wrestling, episode 167, WrestleRave. Hey, on this podcast, as much as you in the audience in the Juice Pro Wrestling universe, you juice heads, already know that we ourselves are huge fans of independent pro wrestling. And I very much like to, I wouldn't call this a segment or a spot, but we've collected enough of you guys now that I think that one of the cooler things that we do is we like to showcase different independent promotions across the country. And we've done that with our Chicagoland promotions like Warrior Wrestling, AAW, Black Label Pro. We've done stuff with Mondo Lucha. We've done stuff with PCW Ultra, and the list goes on and on and on. Well, tonight we have a very special guest. He is new to the wrestling promotion game. He is based out of Houston, Texas. His name is Nick Irene, and he runs the newly minted promotion entitled WrestleRave, and we're going to get the fucking entire scoop on that shit tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, strap it on. Let's get ready to get wet. Welcome, Nick Irene, to the motherfucking show. Nick, how the hell are you, brother?
A lot better after that intro. That was one of the best intros I've ever gotten in my life. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, brother. Anytime, man. Anytime. So I'm curious, dude. We connected through an awesome little through the positive side of wrestling Twitter, which, hey, guess what, boils and ghouls? There is a positive side there. So you don't need to spread all that toxic filth that you're fucking used to, because it's just bullshit. But anyways, we got connected through that. Through this DM thread, if you will, to quote Dusty Rhodes. And I really liked what you were doing. And me and Stratton are big fans of Texas. We were just down there for Pele Pro. Shout out to them guys. Shout out to fucking Kyle Hessler. He's the man. Another former guest of the show. And when I seen you were trying to do this and had a unique twist to it. So I'm a music guy myself. I sing in a grindcore band. I've been doing the metal gig for a while. But I am also very much into a lot of other stuff. So when you said, I saw the promotion, I was like, WrestleRave. And it's like, what the hell is going on with this? And I just give everybody a quick backstory of how this came to be and what your idea of WrestleRave is going to be going forward.
Well, it's kind of a loaded question, but I guess we'll start from the beginning.
Like a loaded diaper.
There you go. There you go. Except this one's hopefully a little less shitty. Yeah. So what I wanted to do, actually, funny story is my stepdad, he told me a long time ago that if I could ever figure out a business plan and a business model of how to get this promotion going and how to get it, started, he would offer his expert, because he was a business owner as well. And he said that, you know what, I'll give you a loan to live out your dream, but you got to tell me a business plan. Problem was I was about like 15 or 16 years old, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
I didn't know what I was doing.
I thought it was easy. I was like, no, it can't be that hard. You just go out and get some wrestlers, and you buy a ring, and you go rent a place, and find out that a ring and all this stuff is way too freaking expensive. So that one kind of died off. Went to college, got real jobs and whatnot, and it kind of tagged back and. I was with my little brother, who's also my partner, because we've been diehard wrestling fans since we were kids. It's kind of how we bonded in a way. We've always gone to wrestling shows, and we're not picky either. We'll go to fucking everything. Anytime there was wrestling in town, and it's kind of weird because Texas, and I'm getting a little off track, but Texas did not used to be what it is now. Now you got great promotions. I know you said Pele Pro. Kyle's a great guy. Is helping me out with some advice as well.
Don't discount, though, because Texas has a very fucking rich history of professional wrestling.
It does.
World class and the Von Erichs.
Of course. And, of course, the old Paul Bosch Houston wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. And Tully Blanchard's old San Antonio territory. But whenever I was growing up as a kid, there really wasn't that. Or I wasn't aware of that. It really was slim pickings around here, especially in where I live, the Houston area. Like all the big shows seemed like they were in the Dallas and Austin area. Now today, the Houston area is not popping. San Antonio's got a lot of great promotions out there. Dallas obviously has still a lot of great promotions out there. I would be here all day if I mentioned all of them. I mean,
territories. They're coming back, brother, back from the
pretty
grave.
much is. I mean, you got, as you said, Pele Pro. We have New Texas. We have heavy metal. I mean, Loco Wrestling.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
there's a lot of. I mean, ICW No Holds Barred was just here on Saturday.
GCW comes out there too.
GCW is coming back in like December, I think. But yeah, I mean, everyone is now popping. Everyone wants to come to Texas now. And and it happened pretty much overnight. So I kind of noticed, I was like, well, might as well get a piece of that action while I have it. And came up with the business plan. But it was important to me that I wanted to try to stand out and not just like, because we already have the deathmatch companies. We already have, the pure wrestling companies, and all of them are great. I mean, that's a good thing about the tech scene is really all of them are great in their own way.
Right. But you have to do much like we have to do, because there's a million wrestling podcasts and, or as I like to call us, a talk show out there. What are you going to do that's going to differentiate yourself from the pack,
Yeah, well, we wanted to try to do WrestleRave, which is for this first show. We're bringing in
on the ones and twos, brother. Oh,
for this first show we did an EDM artist, so we'll do that. And the next show in September 11th, I know not an ideal date, but it's our Love You Blues show because Houston area. We're gonna have a Houston-based rapper come in, and October we're still working on that guy, and we're trying to just incorporate, because music and wrestling goes hand in hand with each other so much. It's such a little, it's not a little thing, or it kind of seems like a little thing, but it's really not. The entrance, I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin would not be Stone Cold Steve Austin if he was coming out to fucking show tunes. So,
free birds.
Exactly. Free birds. I mean, you name a legendary wrestler, they had usually a legendary theme song that you could sing word for word or hum every beat. So
unless it's Chris Jericho's. I'm sorry, I just can't get down with Judas. I can't do it.
Well, you're one of the rare ones then.
Yeah, it's grown on you though. If you say no, you're a liar.
No, that's not. That's something I got to see a doctor about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So we just wanted to try to do different things to stand out. I mean, November we're going to have our Chili Con Carnage, which is going to be half chili cook-off, half wrestling show.
Oh, dude! Oh, shout out to my boy Chris Montez, who makes a butt blistering carne con chile, man. This shit will blow an O-ring out, man. That's a great idea, dude. I like that.
There you go. If y'all are ever back in Houston, y'all can participate in the competition. Well, there you go.
Yes.
Just gave you a nice lead in. But yeah, we just thought, and I think for our Love You Blue show, we're actually going to do like where VIPs can play Madden with the wrestlers or something like that. Madden NFL, play video games with the wrestlers. We just want to try to do different things that just kind of make us stand out. And
I like it. And then from what you've said already, a lot of that's like a real fresh takes on stuff, like for an independent show, you're saying to play Madden with the wrestlers. It's almost something that's kind of like, maybe that'd be some shit like, the E would do during like SummerSlam week or Mania week, where you could come and pay an exorbitant amount of fucking money to do that, which I'm assuming you guys are going to be charging an arm and a leg.
If we
doing something like that,
if we could, we would, but
you can't, so you won't, right?
Yeah. I mean, no, we're not going to have that. I mean, we want everyone to try to enjoy the show at an affordable rate. I mean, we're not the freaking Super Bowl. I mean, we're not even close to the WWE, so we're not going to charge WWE prices.
Right.
It's just silly. But yeah, I mean, very affordable, but you kind of get a little bit of everything with your ticket. Like we wanted to try to appeal to as many audiences as humanly possible. Cause I want to try to appeal to non-wrestling fans. And that's kind of what cause in my opinion, wrestling fans, like you put on a great wrestling show, the great wrestling fans will come. That's not even a problem. If you put on a good enough card, I think you will get a lot of wrestling fans.
If you book it, they will come.
That's kind of the idea, is just, and of course I do listen to the wrestling fan. I listen to who's hot. I listen to who's not hot. And the good thing is I got a lot of wrestling fan friends who tell me kind of, this is who you should book. This guy's getting over. This is who you should book. Yeah. So we want to listen to the fans. We take suggestions. Definitely am not like my way or the highway kind of guy.
You had to reference Limp Bizkit, didn't you?
Didn't even realize it, but yes, I did.
It's all good, brother.
But there you go.
To each their own.
Hey, I like Limp Bizkit. No shame here.
They were just up here, in our neck of the woods in Northwest Indiana, dude. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, they were touring, and then they had to cancel their tour. So I'm a little bummed about that, but I probably wouldn't have been able to make it anyway. So I'm trying to convince someone to go with me one day, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, just pretty much want to cover every base and just, promote and just make it, give everyone, even the wrestling fan, like we have a lucha match, we have a women's match, we have a death match, we have a stiff match, we have your average, regular, good pro wrestling match. Just kind of appeal to as many audiences as humanly possible and try to make them keep coming back.
Now, how hard has this been, this whole process for you to put together? Like, how much of how many sleepless nights have you had, or anxiety? How much anxiety has it been to try to, like, because, it's a business at the end of the day. Yeah. Is it fun? Yeah. But you're fucking putting your ass, you and your brother, on the line here trying to do this. Like, what's that process been like for you guys?
Luckily, making the card and everything hasn't been too stressful. We were supposed to have Kimberly at this past show. Obviously, she couldn't be there, unfortunately. We do hope to get her back soon, but Impact is being very, very brutal with our dates. So thank you, by the way, to you. But yeah, it hasn't been too difficult. It's been fun for the most part. It's just a matter of, kind of putting it together. And I think I have more anxiety on the show day.
Sure.
Just to kind of make sure, especially for the first one, because I have no idea what's going to be happening, what's going to be expected. I don't even really care that much that I just hope people show up kind of deals. Like, I know a few people are going to show up. That's enough for me to say, okay, these few people are going to get the best show of their life. So that doesn't really give me that much anxiety. I think whenever the show actually happens, just as long as everyone gets paid, everyone is satisfied, everyone gets home safe, then I did my job.
Right on, man. So, like, you guys are putting this together, and you were saying, you're lifelong wrestling fans. How far back does it go for you and your brother?
Well, I actually started watching it first. I still remember exactly where I was and what was going on. It was old box TV in 2004. It was the week. It was in August. So it's getting right around the anniversary. It's late August. And I don't remember the exact date, but I was scrolling around the channels, 8-year-old me, just scrolling around the channels. And right at the beginning, ironically enough, since we were filming this on a Monday, it was an episode of Monday Night Raw. And it had just started, and they were opening up the show with this promo video, and they were recapping from the week after, or the week before, how Randy Orton was kicked out of Evolution. So they showed the big old thumbs up, thumbs down segment, and they just beat Randy Orton to a bloody pulp. And 8-year-old me was thinking, oh my God, what is this? So I had to watch. And it's kind of stuck. It kind of hooked since. And I remember my mom wasn't exactly the biggest fan of it because I know WWE is a little more family friendly now, but back in 2004, it sure as hell wasn't.
Because, Raw penny matches, man.
No, that was right during and I remember looking back, I was like, God, I can't believe my mom let me watch this crap, because you had that going on. You had the Kane Lita miscarriage angle going on.
Snitsky, another former guest of the show. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. I love Snitsky. What a great guy. Such great shape, too.
Yeah, dude, still to this day. And he's doing movies and shit now. He did a horror movie, 100 Acres of Hell, dude. It's actually pretty damn decent. Check it out.
I mean, he sounds tailor-made for that.
Right.
Yeah, and then there was like Christy Hemme running around doing the Diva Search, and she was
yeah.
That was not very happy from the mom side of it. And I remember Yeah. So that was my intro into wrestling, was just all this crazy, just out there stuff that I've never seen before in my life. And kind of got I guess desensitized to a lot of stuff early on as an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't stuff that an 8-year-old should have been watching, but whatever, it's wrestling. It happens.
And it's weird. And I like talking to, people that find wrestling at different points in their lives, and obviously different age groups. Me and Srun are a little bit older than you. Obviously we're going to show our age, but anyways, like you're saying, when you first discovered it compared to like when, in the 80s, when I was watching as a 5-year-old kid or whatever during Hulkamania, it's like such a weird dichotomy between, or contrast between the two eras, when you're talking about like the evolution side and everything. And then like what me and Stratton and going through the Hogan era, and then going into like NWO, living through that, and the Attitude Era, which was really raunchy and pretty much, if you look at it nowadays with 2021 eyes, really fucking stupid.
Yeah, it does not age well for the most part.
Yeah. I don't think it would have survived in today's society, but it's cool for me to hear that and how people I'm really interested in how, different people, different age groups got involved with pro wrestling. It's because wrestling is this weird thing that, like, as I'm sure you're well aware of it, dude, like the fans are rabid, more so than I think any form of entertainment, where I don't know of any other form, even like football and shit, where people like, yeah, they might know in football, like what certain contracts and shit are, but dude, wrestling fans are fucking rabid about that, the speculation and all this shit. And like, I just think it's really cool to kind of see where everybody comes from. So it's cool to hear that, I remember watching that. I was 2004. So I was a couple years out of high school. I graduated in 01. It's weird for me. You make me feel like a fucking old man. So thank you for that. But all right, you're still sexy.
I can't help it.
It's all good, brother. But it's just it's so weird, man, because at the end of the day, no matter what era you grew up or found it in, you always go back, especially once you get hooked, and that's a lot of what I did when I was growing up. I found wrestling in the 80s. And as I started to get older, like early 90s, mid 90s, when everything was busting out, I was going back and reading old PWIs from like the 70s and the 80s and getting involved in that shit and, trying to find stuff from Japan and all that. So I guess in summation, what I'm trying to say is just, it's a lovely thing when you finally do get hooked into pro wrestling, because when you really do, you fucking take a deep dive, man, into all that shit. And then there's really no turning back,
Oh yeah. I took way too deep of a dive. Way too deep. I'm still way too deep in it.
How serious are you on, like, as far as like collecting anything, albeit merchandise or memorabilia?
I usually do like the 8x10s. I got one of the old encyclopedias that they have that WWE made, and I usually get people to sign that thing. I like it for like a nice little coffee table item just to kind of scroll through. I always think it's kind of cool. I also like to collect the posters of the events that I go to. I got a few. I've been to a few WrestleManias, so I got the WrestleMania posters.
Which ones do you go to?
I've only been to 2 of them. I went to the WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, the second New Orleans one, with that shitty Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match. It's 7 hours in that building. Fucking works.
No thanks.
It was an indoor stadium, so it was okay. Because outdoors in New Orleans in the middle of April would be fucking awful.
Yeah.
And then my second one was the one recently in Tampa. I just went to night one. They had a rain.
Wow.
So
after that was really the first time they welcomed fans back. So
yeah, I got to be a part of that first show that they welcomed fans back. So that was
pretty cool.
That was pretty cool to be a part of. It rained right on us, so that show was almost doomed. I had to leave out the next morning, so I was very paranoid that if they were going to delay the show or postpone the show in case of a rain delay, I would have been pissed. But they were able. They pushed through and got it done, and I got to see all that craziness happen at WrestleMania, and it was pretty cool.
Hell yeah! The only Mania I went to, I've only been to one, and it was Once again, I'm going to date myself. It was WrestleMania 8.
About to say it was probably knowing you're an Indiana guy. It was probably that Hoosier Dome one.
Yes, exactly.
I watched that. I rewatched that one pretty recently. I still love that one.
It's great, and you know what? It gets a lot of flack. I feel because of the booking where everybody wanted Hogan Flair. You had both the two biggest names in pro wrestling at the time in one company, and they did some house shows where it was Hogan and Flair, and the rumor goes that like McMahon and them didn't think that they were getting a good enough reaction. So how are we going to book that for the main event of Mania? You know, whatever. I don't know what the fuck was going through their minds. But yeah, I was there when Papa Shango missed the cue and ran out fucking late. And
I will still maintain that JR and King are number one commentary team of all time, but the number two commentary team of all time is Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. I don't even.
That's my number one.
I mean, yeah, but y'all are older than me. So I grew up on King.
He just called you a whole piece of shit, Stratton.
Look, I grew up on King. I grew up on Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. So those are my favorite.
They're awesome too. They're super awesome too.
Being real, I grew up probably more on SmackDown because it was Friday night and I could stay up late on Friday nights. So I grew up with actually Michael Cole and Taz, which I used to like them together because I always thought they were funny. So
yeah,
because they didn't really ever take anything seriously, so they were always kind of fun to be around. But they were always the Friday night crew. So I watched probably more SmackDown than I did Raw back in the day, just because parents let me stay up on Fridays, they didn't let me stay up on Mondays.
Now, because from the sound of it, I mean, you're a huge WWE guy, right? Am I wrong in assuming?
Well, let's just say I didn't have a big issue with taping this interview on a Monday night. So
I'm sure nobody would in this day and age who would. I couldn't tell you the last time I've actually sat and watched a complete episode of Raw. And trust me, I stuck through it when all my friends were like, dude, Raw, it was really, really bad. And my friends quit watching wrestling. And I was like, well, maybe they'll come around. Maybe they'll come around. And dude, I think it's been 5 years. The last Raw I watched was the first Raw back where they got fans. I was like, you know what? It's the first Raw back with fans. I'm going to give it another shot. And it was fucking awful. I was just like, God. Yeah, the fans are booking the show. It's great to have them there for obvious reasons, but they're not booking it. It's such a shame, man.
Well, now they're piping in crowd noise, so that just gets on my nerves more than anything. So yeah, that's just brutal. But I don't watch Raw. SmackDown's on a Friday night now, and no offense, I'm a 25-year-old man. I don't have time to be sitting around watching wrestling on a Friday night.
Oh hell yeah! You gotta go out and get some of that little wildlife,
Yeah, I mean, I tried to have a social life outside of wrestling. That being said, I do watch Dynamite on a regular basis.
Yes, you do, because why? It's fucking fun.
For the most part, it's a fun show. It's very rare that I ever find myself dreading it. I would watch Impact if I knew what channel they were on.
Access TV, brother.
I don't know what channel that is.
I don't know what channel it is anymore either. I use a fucking Fire Stick.
Channels every other. Not to discredit Impact. The Impact's got a lot of great talent over there. I mean, we're bringing in Raheem Raju for September 11th. So
yes,
he's a great talent. We love him. I mean, he's a nice guy. All the Impact guys are so fucking great. But yeah, I just don't really have time to watch them as much as I would want to. Because again, there's just so much wrestling out there now. You got New Japan coming up. And as you said, all the indies are here in town. And you got GC.
MLW.
I forgot about ROH, NWA. I mean, you have so many, and it's great. You have so many companies just out there.
Awesome.
Where people.
Let me ask you this, though, and this is the kind of question for both of you guys. As great as it is it also? I mean, is it kind of a hindrance or annoyance that there is so much? Because going back to what I said earlier, though, as a wrestling fan and what you just said, you want to have a social life, because this is the way I guess I'm forcing my opinions and throwing them out there that I see it is I live and die by the sword when it comes to pro wrestling, but there's so much and I want to talk about all of it, but you only have so much time, and then you got to balance with work and family and whatever other endeavors that you're involved with. That's why I asked that question. Like, is it, I don't really want to say it's not a bad thing, because for the men and women that are doing it, it is the best time to be doing it, to be employed. And basically all these independents now with, IWTV and what is it, like Power Bomb, or they changed their name to Power Slam TV, High Spots and Fight. You can watch these shows, so you can kind of pick and choose your battles. But I feel like from a media side, it's like, whoa, just, let me settle down a little bit. I'm forced to kind of limit what I can watch and report on a regular basis,
Hey, Nick, you want to rock, paper, scissors for who answers first?
I'll let you.
All right. I'll try to be as quick as I can because I'm super long-winded. I think I won. I think it was a tie. I think you threw a paper also.
You threw a gun up. Bullet Club for life.
Being a guy doing a podcast with my friend who's obsessed, and Bodie, like Justin and Bodie are very incredibly knowledgeable about the history of wrestling, and they try to intake as much as possible. I am the definition of casual. As much as I love this stuff, and as much as I've become to like it even more since, getting closer and closer and doing more of these podcasts, there's only so much you can take. What's awesome is I am allowed as a fan, not like whatever media, as a fan, I can be as picky as I want and still have so much awesome shit, like an overload of awesome shit. I like Impact a lot. I do not know anybody that has Access TV. I can't go on my Comcast shit or whatever part of the country you live in. Like Chicago doesn't, like, Comcast is not heavy. Northwest Indiana, Comcast is heavy. All I say is AEW Dynamite. If I miss it, and like Rampage is on Fridays now, I'm not going to watch it. So I can get there on a Sunday afternoon when I'm blowing farts, like in my kitchen making breakfast. I could put on Rampage because I can click it on demand. That is not a barrier. If I'm a fan, I'll find that shit. That's also what's cool. If you want to find it, you can find it online, but you can be picky. It's so much fun because there's so much awesome shit. The byproduct is there's a lot of an obsessive minority on Twitter and whatnot that poisons it, that makes it shitty, that complains all the time, that bitches. That sucks. And
then when they get what they want, guess what they still do?
They still complain. Yes, they will always have something to complain about, and those people are, I believe, a minority. I think it's a fantastic, whatever take you have on current wrestling, I think it's awesome. Point number one, we are interviewing you. You are a guy that likes this stuff so much. You started your own company, and you're going to give it a big bad swing to see if you can achieve one of the dreams of your life by owning a successful, thriving business, a professional wrestling business, an entertainment business with music and, chili cook-offs and all that shit. But my take is it's awesome. The parts that suck, big deal. Like we're actually spoiled on any kind of fandom we have because there's an excess of everything. But if you happen to be a wrestling lover, there's a real excess of high quality stuff. Now, I don't know, like in the 80s and 90s when we had less media, there's only room for one. There's only room for one or two people. Now it's the internet age. There's a lot more room for all that shit. So whatever. I could talk for like an hour longer about that, but Nick, thank you for listening. Justin, thank you for listening. I'm going to shut the fuck up.
Thank God.
And I'll piggyback off of that. I do think 98% of wrestling fans are usually very knowledgeable, very good, kind people. I have met some of the nicest people, wrestlers or wrestling fans, willing to just talk to you about wrestling. And there's only such a little handful of those people that actually know wrestling to a T. So it's always kind of nice to talk to someone because it's like kind of like that dirty pleasure that you have, like, because you go to like a normal bar or you go to like anywhere normal and they just look at you. If you say you're a wrestling fan, they look at you like you have three heads.
Yeah.
They just do not get it.
Yeah.
There's some people that just do not get it. So I believe, the more the merrier.
That's so true.
But I do believe in many niche things. I mean, you see it with, with other things. Like, I mean, anime, Game of Thrones has a community.
Mhm.
I've never watched a fucking episode in my life. There's always these hardcore bases for these people.
Yeah.
And I think every fan base is going to have those fans that are just like, they take it so literal. It's like so live and die. And and not to bash on wrestling fans, but it is kind of funny. Because the best part, and I'll say it for the reason why Daniel Bryan's heel turn back in the day, and I say back in the day, it was like 3 years ago.
Has it been 3 years already? Fuck.
So it's been a while.
I'll tell you what, I love that title he had. That was fucking dope, dude.
Yeah, the eco title. But the main thing about it is he always said the fans were fickle, and there was truth behind that. That's why.
There was.
Because now people in the 80s, they appreciated that. They always talked about, long-term storytelling. That, angles where like people were pissed off and like were throwing shit. People look back on that stuff as like legendary. Now, if someone does that, now it's like, I can't believe they did that. I'm never watching again. It's like
the Max Caster situation that just happened in AEW. I mean, I guess there's a thin line, in today's society, what you can and can't say. And I'm not saying what he said was right or wrong. I just, it boggles me that this guy's, I mean, he's an entertainer trying to get heel heat, here. And this is the way I look at it. If you watch a Tarantino film, right? Say we watch Django Unchained. How many times did they drop the N-bomb in that fucking movie? Not, for entertainment purposes, because this is a movie, it's a scripted fucking deal. And maybe I'm not saying it's the same, but it's very similar as to what he was doing, establishing himself as like just a complete fucking asshole. But then, in today's society, he gets fucking bombed for it. And it's like, man, I guarantee you he's a guy that is probably he's not condoning any of that shit that maybe he referenced or any of that. It's just, it's fucking heat, and people can call it cheap heat or whatever. I thought it was kind of clever what he fucking said, because it's just like, holy shit, it makes you stop. But in today's society, you got to be like, whoa, well, that's not acceptable. And I don't know, man. I'm really torn with that whole thing, because like I said, if you watch any of these fucking films like Tarantino or anybody that's like throws enough out there that where it's like shocking, like what they're saying or doing in these movies, it's very much fucking similar, man. So like, I just hate that some people get the hate that they do because of something like that. I don't know. That's, as Forrest Gump would say, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, remember they did the joke. I mean, the Joker movie got panned and people were trying to get rid of that because they thought it was too violent or too descriptive.
Jesus.
Art is just, wrestling is art. Art is,
yep. Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Subjective. It's subjective. It's meant to trigger a reaction one way or the other. Yeah. And sometimes people push art. I don't think you should muzzle art. I do,
especially in America, man. Freedom of fucking speech.
I don't think
Preach,
you should,
dickhead.
But I don't think you should muzzle it. But I do think in nowadays, especially, you do have to kind of try to find that, you look at the Attitude Era in 1999, there are so many awful things that happened that nobody even, there's so many awful things that don't get talked about.
Right.
I mean, there's awful things. Hell, even there's awful things 15 years ago, as I said, in 2004, that would never fly nowadays. But that was just kind of how things were back then. Not saying it's right or wrong. But I do think it takes, that special kind of talent to adapt to the culture and still get
right
an appropriate amount of heat without pissing people off enough to where, I mean, there was the old story of Jim Cornette, how he was literally getting stabbed in the street. If you're stabbing people in the street over pro wrestling, over an angle, then I think
you're a fucking idiot.
I think you're pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of, that's what if we heard that nowadays, that was just par for the course back then. But nowadays it's kind of like that evolution of the business. Like in the 90s, you weren't seeing people get stabbed. In the 70s, I mean, I think Zbyszko had a rock thrown out of his head.
Oh yeah, a lot of those guys. But there was kayfabe, and that's a good point to where it leads to, like, now we have so much ease of access into locker rooms, into these elite fucking clubs and circles that was very, 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 I'm going to emphasize very, like Booker T 5 times, unheard of back in the day. You couldn't do that unless you were like, if I was to come in, say in the 70s, even as a media guy, it was still fucking tough. You had to like know somebody and like kind of almost be like initiated or allowed to be in this circle. Nowadays, dude, everybody, the forbidden doors and kayfabe's fucking been dead for God knows how long. It's so weird. It's so ease of access, and it's a different day and time, you know. And I know there probably are still some old timers, and I'm sure Jim Cornette is one of them. That's like,
you don't think, you sure Cornette's a little old school?
just a little bit. He's one of those guys that's like, fuck that, you know, like this is, and that's why he hates on the Young Bucks and shit and everybody that he hates on. Some of it does warrant some merit. I will give him that. I'm not a guy that's going to hate on Cornette because I'm 50-50 with him. I think he is, he's a legendary figure in the business. He's a great mind in the business, but at the same time, he's a fucking asshole of the business. But what I'm trying to say is it's so weird nowadays, dude. Like, a couple of weeks ago, we had Josh Alexander on, just last week we had Ninja Mac on. To be able to have that access and opportunity and for them guys to kind of open themselves up to you and I and everybody else. It's so weird in the pro wrestling business compared to what I know it was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even going way back in the day, like we're talking about like Gorgeous George era or any of the, George Hackenschmidt, when it was presented as a legit, because we don't drop the F-bomb on this show, a legit competition that everybody took serious, like it's weird to see the evolution of that. And now everybody, you can talk to anybody you fucking want to, and if they want to, they'll fucking spill the beans. It's weird for me, man.
Yeah, I just definitely think it's just the evolution of the bit. I mean, people were talking about Harley Race, thinking he was destroying the business when he was coming off the top rope. So
yeah,
that's just the evolution of the. I mean, I think are the Young Bucks my cup of tea? Not exactly. I think they're great great workers, and I do think they tell their stories in their own way. But I don't think there is a per se right or wrong way to do pro wrestling, just like there's not a right way to do a movie. You have a horror movie, you have a comedy movie, you have an action movie, just same way. You have a deathmatch wrestling, you have the Japanese style, you got the regular old school wrestling, which is kind of why it's great to be a wrestling fan right now, is because all those little niches are kind of accessible and available.
You drink beer, man. You like different types of beers. You like IPAs. You like lagers. You like this, Same thing. It's all out there. As our homies in Two Heels in the Face would say, wrestling is a buffet.
Yeah, it literally is. Just a buffet of, will some of it make you sick and throw up? Absolutely. Watch Monday nights. Watch Monday nights or WCW back in the day, which was pretty awful.
Which way are you talking about later, like that towards the end?
Pretty much every main event from 96 on.
I know. I get what you're saying, and I agree and I understand, but I don't agree at the same time because I miss those fucking days. Damn it.
Look, I miss them too, but I'm not saying it's on that level, but it is nice to have, because I'm a big production mark, I guess, if that's the right term.
Okay.
If I'm going to watch a show, indie or not, I want to make sure that it looks good. And I want to try to do that for my show too, is to make sure that it looks good. Like, the reason why I'm always pulled to WWE, still even to this day, still will watch the pay-per-view, still will watch WrestleMania every single year.
Right. I give them the big four. I'll usually watch the big four.
Yeah. I love the stadium shows because I love the glitz. I like the glamour. I like it feeling like a big deal. And when it's at a stadium, they make it feel like a big deal. And especially in like back when they changed the stages and gave them an identity, they felt like a big deal. So I was really big on that. And I wanted to try, and we have this arena, we have a good deal on this arena over in Houston, but I wanted to try to, in my own way, make the show its own identity, whether it's even putting like a little prop here and there on it, just to make it stand out from all the others. But I'm big on that. I love the stages. I love the glitz and the glamour and the fire and the pyro and the superstar entrance, as they say, because I think it enhances the product so much more than if some guy just walks out in front of 20 people in a barn somewhere with like out of a curtain. Not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying my cup of tea. And that's honestly why I like GCW too, is because GCW has that underground feel, but they have the production value enough to kind of make it feel like a big deal still.
Let me ask you this, because I very much get these vibes. Is GCW kind of the ECW of modern day pro wrestling? Especially when you account the fan base?
Yes, and I feel like ECW fans were more like ECW or die. Like they'll literally kill you if you say a bad word about ECW.
Gotcha.
If anything, I always thought of GCW as CZW done better.
Okay, yeah.
Because CZW kind of had back in like the mid 2000s, they kind of had that cult like following.
Right.
CZW was going on now as opposed to GCW, which I guess they still are, but no one cares.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. To be honest, I thought they were done. I haven't heard anything.
I don't know. I don't know if they're done or not, but I don't know. Who cares? But I've heard some.
Nobody.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but it's just like I felt like CZW, they did their shit, and that was a unique thing at the time. And GCW just did. I'm not going to say the same thing, but they modernized it and made it to where, now you have every year at WrestleMania weekend where they have the collective, they have 3,000 to 4,000 people that show up for like Nick Gage and those guys. And that was unfathomable.
Right.
CZW was around. They were lucky to get like 1,000 people, maybe 1,000 people for like Tournament of Death at their little farm in Delaware or wherever it was. But yeah, I just feel like GCW kind of modernized is a modern version of CZW in a way.
Fair enough. And they're doing, I like how they do a lot of, we'll call it networking, with other promotions, Forbidden Doors, long before the Forbidden Doors, GCW has been doing shit. They're doing in September with our local promotion, Black Label Pro. They got the 3 Cup Stuffed, coming up, and they're booking some killer talent, dude. You got Hoovy on the show. You got Super Crazy, Too Cold Scorpio. Like it's fucking awesome. Like what they're doing. And me and Stretton were at the last one, the one where G-Raver got fucking sliced and damn near fucking bled out.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to those guys. I don't know why they would want to do that, but
so you're not a big deathmatch guy then, right?
On TV, no. Live, it is the most fucking insane thing I've ever seen live.
Deathmatch fans are nuts, dude. The fans are fucking insane.
I like the art. I like the balls that it takes and appreciate the balls that it takes. And I guess for the women who did it too. Not even gonna say the balls for the women, but they are tougher than. And I will say this about deathmatch. It's not per se my cup of tea, but live deathmatch is my cup of tea because there's no more fun that I've ever had than at a deathmatch show because it's just fucking craziness. And to make it even better, the nicest wrestlers in the world are the deathmatch wrestlers.
Dude, they're super nice. Effie let me grab his bloody Johnson after a fucking match with Nick Gage. It's like, hey, photo op.
Yeah, I mean, always the nicest guys. I know I was just in San Antonio, as I said, for ICW and No Peace and all them. And and got to meet Neil Diamond Cutter, sweetheart of a guy. Got to meet the Kirks over there, fuck the Kirks. That being said, they are nice guys. I'm sorry to break the kayfabe, but they are nice people.
What?
I know, it's unfathomable. But yeah, they're super chill. Schlack is an awesome dude. Crazy.
Schlack's awesome. I played my bands throughout the years. We played quite a few shows with his different bands and at festivals and shit too.
I never knew. I mean, yeah, I know. I'm not surprised at all that Schlack has a metal band.
Oh yeah.
slightest bit. Actually,
Big GG Allen fan.
I actually bought his fridge magnet, so his face stares at me every time I grab something in the fridge. So that's always nice to see. I just have Slack just screaming at me. But yeah, and even Nick Gage, an awesome, kind dude. But yeah, they're just always the coolest guys. They don't, and yeah, I just like the death match. I just like how fun it is. And another reason why death matches on my show is because anytime I brought in someone to a wrestling show who does not watch wrestling, and I take them to a death match show, they always love it.
They love it. They get hooked because it's like back in the 80s, if you watched a fucking Arnold or a Sly movie, like the first 5 minutes, they're fucking holding the dude that's getting shot up by fucking bullets while they're holding him and blowing people's heads off. It's like, that's what I equate it to. It's like, it's boom in your fucking face. If you're not a fan of wrestling, you'll watch that shit and be like, for anybody that drops the F-bomb about pro wrestling, holy shit, maybe I should back up a little bit, because that's pretty fucked up what's going on right now. Dude, we got to see Jerry Lawler against Mance Warner at a GCW Black Label shows. Who would have thought that shit would have happened? It's fucking crazy.
I think it's crazier that Jerry Lawler's still wrestling. I think I saw online, he's got like a casket match with Enzo Amore.
Enzo, yeah, he just did that. Yeah, dude, it's fucking nuts.
I don't know why they made it a casket match, but all right, that's cool, I guess.
Maybe because he had a heart attack on fucking Raw a few years back.
It's a little bizarre. That was a bizarre stipulate. But anyway, but yeah, and that was another, and back to kind of the original question of what was kind of the idea behind the promotion. Back in college, I was a frat guy. I know. So back when I wasn't getting...
Were you Lambda?
No, I was Sigma Chi.
Oh, okay.
One of my best friends was a Sigma Chi.
Yeah, we're fucking great. I know.
What a gentleman.
Sigmachi, as they would say. But yeah. So I was at college, and I remember I was watching one of the pay-per-views. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I was just watching it all alone in my dorm because that's what I did back then. And then I thought, well, shit, why am I watching in my dorm? Because it was right when WrestleMania was coming up, and it was the Dallas one, the big Dallas one, with I forget what the main event was. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I think it was Roman and Trips. But anyway, I was like, well, it's a 5-hour fucking show. I'm not going to stay in my room all day and watch it. So I brought a TV out to the frat house and bought a case of beer, bought some pizza, and said, you know what? I'm going to force you fuckers to watch WrestleMania.
Yes.
And they did.
It was probably fun as hell.
And I'm sure people had a great time.
And they did. We watched the whole WrestleMania from start to finish, all fucking 8 hours of it.
Jesus.
From the first kickoff match to the fucking send-off, with Roman Reigns getting booed out of the building because that's how things were back in the day. I guess it's still how things are. But
yeah, but at least the boos now are more acceptable.
A little more warranted now.
Yeah.
But after that point, I kind of started to notice, because I had already had the idea of like, if I was ever going to run a promotion, like what would I have to do? And I would always notice like what they were reacting to, what they weren't reacting to, what they were excited for. And I always kind of took mental notes in my head and was like, okay, well, this popped them. This didn't pop them. That didn't work. That was okay. Because like, I was watching AJ Styles and Chris Jericho fucking put on a classic.
AJ, dude, modern day Shawn Michaels, he can fucking have a good match for anybody, man.
Exactly. And Chris Jericho ain't no slouch either in the ring.
No.
Back then.
Except for that theme song.
I like the theme song. So
I like it too.
Sorry.
Sing along. But yeah, AJ and Jericho were having this awesome kick-ass match, and they were just sitting on their hands, not paying attention to it. They didn't give two fucking shits about it. I was just sitting there enthralled, like, God, that's such a good match. And and people are just looking at him as like, really? Like they couldn't get it. So, but I remember they kicked off the show with a 7-man ladder match. And people are fucking flying all over the place, jumping off of shit. They popped for that.
Yeah.
Shit popped for that. And of course, being the douchey frat guys that they are, they also liked, Becky and Sasha and Charlotte match.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
TNA.
Never got to show many TNA matches. Speaking
That's not what I meant by that, but frat guys, TNA.
Yeah, it's not. It's pretty easy to pop up with that since they're gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were. Now we were all in agreement that the Roman Reigns Triple H match did suck. Sorry, I love you both, but no, that match did suck. But yeah, pretty much just watched all the matches and had a blast, and they just kind of noticed what they liked and what they didn't like, and that was kind of the format. Was like have enough to satisfy each little age group, or not age group, but each little demographic, the non-wrestling fan and the wrestling fan.
And that's good. And I think a lot of good independent promotions do that. I know Black Label's been one up here. Warrior is another. I mean, they've never had a death match or anything like that, but
no, they just fucking mega cards every single month.
Yeah, it ain't no thing. I'll be hanging with fucking Jay White this weekend or last weekend or wherever the fuck time zone we're in now.
Yeah, yeah. I need to get that Warrior Wrestling money. I need to get that one day.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you never know. And real quick, as we kind of like wind down a little bit here, where do you see you guys going like in the future? I mean, is this something obviously you would like to sustain? I mean, obviously not knowing that you're not trying to put on a WWE or AEW-esque show, but I mean, I'm sure guys like, Brett Lauderdale and, doing GCW, and not that they've put on those types of shows, but to me, like for him to be able to organize the collective is very similar as like just a pure wrestling fan to a WrestleMania, and who knows what is going to happen now. If you want to talk a little wrestling history real quick, the very first Starrcade was all the fucking promotions except for WWF banding together, like the NWA and WCCW and AWA were like, hey, we're going to put all our fucking stars together and make this mega show, pretty much to combat fucking what Vince was trying to do to the territories at the time. And that's something I still think that is in the works, and we might still be seeing something like that. I know Impact is hyping Bound for Glory as being Impact, New Japan, AAA, AEW. Holy shit. Like as a wrestling fan, dude, I'm sprung, like it's crazy to think of that. What do you want to do? Where do you see, is there a glass ceiling for you? You just kind of go with the flow. You just want to put on like the best show you can. Where do you guys see yourselves like in the future?
The ultimate goal is if I can quit my day job and make this my day job. That is the ultimate goal.
Good answer. We wish to do the same.
Yeah. That would be ideal. I don't know how reasonable or even logical that is, but you know what?
It's realistic.
It's realistic-ish.
It's realistic. Don't put the ish on it, brother. Don't fucking limit yourself. I'm not your dad. I'm not telling you you're not going to do this. Not saying your dad does, but you know what I'm saying.
No, if anything, he's been the most supportive person. He's not a wrestling fan. That being said, I've shown him countless wrestling, and he always plays on his phone and laughs at it, just how ridiculous it can be.
Is he in the sports or anything?
He's in the golf.
Oh, well, you should put that shit on and laugh at him because that's fucking ridiculous.
Hey, I like golf. I'm not going to. I don't know why. But I
was trying to be there for you, damn it.
I'm sorry. Okay, I hate tennis. Does that work?
What?
Yeah, fuck tennis. But some serious fucking athletes because tennis sucks to play.
Yes, tennis has great athletes. That being said, watching it is like paint dry for me.
Yes.
And coming from the golf fan.
At least you can get high off paint fumes.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I never done it.
I haven't done it either. I've heard.
Next.
I think the whole point of the story, I forgot what I was even saying, but it ended up being so he never played on his phone during an ECW show. That was the only show he never played on his phone. But yeah, the goal is just to get enough money. I'm not trying to be a millionaire from this thing. I just want enough money to survive, and I am very low maintenance. So as long as I have enough money to feed myself and put a roof over my head and have running water, I should be good to go. And I would love to be able to work with other promotions. I would very open-minded to it. I think that's the healthy way and the right way to do business in the pro wrestling biz. I have no idea why you wouldn't want to work with people. It just dumbfounds me why you wouldn't want to.
Same thing with the media side of it, dude. Like, I love having other wrestling podcasting and media personalities on here, and to be able to like get a feel for like what they do and share what they do, you know, to different audiences. And you got to work together, and that's why fucking you see what you see with AEW and all that shit right now. Like if you it's do or die, brother, and everybody's got to come together over me, as the Beatles would say. Whatever, fuck you, Sren, fucking asshole. Beatlemania is very real. I suggest you take it up sometime.
I thought we were gonna get through one episode where you don't call me an asshole. We got close, but let's keep the streak going.
I mean, hey, man, those are good goals. And I can't help that. One day, hopefully, Nick, this fucking asshole right there, hopefully he changes. But until that day comes, whatever. Hey, so is there anywhere? Are you guys gonna have any fucking merchandise out? What do you have coming up as far as shows? Can you give us any dates? Can you give us any announcements? Any fucking, nice little tidbits for the faithful in the JP Woo?
Sure thing. But first, I would like to say that you kind of look like Corey Graves over there, right there. You a little bit looking like Corey Graves.
Sredden?
Yes.
He's like the Serbian Corey Graves.
He may be. I don't know if Corey Graves is Serbian at all. But
I think he looks like Bernard from Westworld.
I never saw Westworld, so that reference does not mean anything to me.
There you go. Yo,
this is my impression right here.
It looks just like him. So
he's a dickhead because we don't look. I mean, maybe we do. I gotta Google Corey Graves.
He does do.
Sorry, Corey.
Andre the Giant on our show. He is a drunk ghost of Andre the Giant that appears many times.
You drink 30 bottles of wine like Andre does. That's how you really get the impression.
He comes pretty close. When we were down in your neck of the woods a couple of weeks ago, he drank a whole damn bottle of Jameson nearly by himself, and somehow he ended up with purple elbows. How are those doing, Stratton?
I can almost stretch this one out all the way, and this one is it's a little bumpy, but we'll be good.
Teach these kids.
Well, I mean, I've dislocated my shoulder from wrestling with a friend drunk, so I know.
He tried to body slam me for no reason.
Yeah,
out of love.
Out of love.
I don't know how to snuggle.
Only way it would have been out of love is if you tried to lick me afterwards, you sick fuck. So anyways, Nick, you were saying you had some shows coming up.
Yeah. That's why I was here. That's right. So yeah, September 11th in Houston. It's all going to be at the Houston Premier Arena. For anyone who doesn't know where that address is, it's 7122 Avenue B in Houston, Texas. It's about 6 miles from Midtown, downtown Houston, all the party town. So very easy drive. September 11th, we will have our Love You Blue show. And y'all's earlier guest, Mr. Ninja Mac, will be there.
Yes.
Lock that down. We locked that down today.
Bet.
Very excited to get old Mr. Mac inside our promotion for the first time. He's on a tremendously busy schedule, so we are very pleased to have him.
Do you have the match set for that already or no?
Yes, we're actually going to have him go against Chip Day, if anyone's familiar with him. He just look up his match with old Cameron Grimes back in the day, and he put on a fucking barn burner with him. Very, very good professional wrestler out of Atlanta, so we're very excited to have him come and be a part of our show. We have that. We have October 23rd booked, the Ghouls Night Out show.
Hell yeah, is that a Misfits reference or?
No, it was just. In all honesty, it was. It's a Misfits now, but it was. We were trying to figure out a name for this fucking show, and we literally looked at like gimmicky Halloween party names, and Ghouls Night Out came out. I was like, okay, that one works. So, yeah, Halloween themed, always fun, costume party. It's kind of the vibe we're looking for that show.
If you want to book a death metal band or anything, let me know. Handsome Prick is available.
Is that the name of your band, Handsome Prick?
Yes, sir.
That's a little misleading, but
hey, you should check out our new album. It's called Plastic Baby Living Facility. That's a little more misleading.
So many questions for another time. As you said, November 13th, we got that officially booked today. That is our Chili Con Carnage show.
Yes.
It's going to be amazing.
Everybody wax your tongues.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be half chili cook-off, half pro wrestling show. So that's going to be very fun to have.
Sounds super fun.
And then December 17th will be Winter Wham as a fun.
Guys, too bad you can't book Wham to play it. That would be the shit.
We'll get a Wham tribute band. How about
Hell
that?
yeah.
Let's do that. Let's do that. I've always wanted to do a tribute band for a show as funny as they are. But I will drop the little announcement since it is a little early and people will probably forget it after fucking 4 months anyway. We were able to get Alex Zane for that show. So we are very pumped.
Yes. Kudos to you, brother. Alex Zane's a good bro, man.
He was hard to get, believe it or not. Yeah, we tried hard for that one. We got him booked for Winter Wham.
Yeah, get him while you can because he's gonna be snatched up like that. Whether it's MLW, ROH, New Japan. I personally, I meant to tell Mac this when we were talking to him. As soon as he said that, and like I got associated with Ninja Mac probably within the last couple months. I was like, dude. I was thinking back then, I was like, man, what if him and Alex Zane just went off? You know, like it almost reminds me of like a Ricochet, Will Ospreay situation where like, I'm sorry, I love that type of wrestling. That's athleticism at its finest. You know, I get the storytelling, story driven shit, whatever. Like you said, your show, you're booking all types of fucking wrestling. That would be a barn burner, dude.
Well, cheap plug. I know they're doing it in October.
Oh, no shit.
I think. Anywho.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Well, then I can meet you. Well, then we can meet in person after all this craziness. Y'all just got to drive from Indiana.
No. I've done the drive to Houston. I've been to Houston many a times with my old band back in the day, Decrypt. I will never make those drives again because until you pack yourself in a van with like a day's notice that like, oh, hey, going to Houston tomorrow with like 11 sweaty, long-haired metal dudes and you're like packed like sardines and you can't even fucking sleep on the way because dude's hair is just in your face and they stink. I'm flying, dude. We're flying.
We're driving. We'll be there. I am the best co-pilot / driver of anybody ever want to take a road trip. If I think you're all right, you're going to have a great time driving because we're going to stop at hotels. We're going to eat cheeseburgers. We're going to eat so much ice cream. That's it. Keep going. Sorry.
Isn't it weird when he talks?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hungry.
Nick, where can people find you guys at on social media? And do you have any links? Do you guys got anything that you're selling yet? Like merch wise, like t-shirts, logo shirts, something?
Yeah, we actually do. We have our Big Cartel up, our WrestleRave.BigCartel.com. We have our wristbands, and we will be dropping our shirts here in the next couple of days. Since this was taped earlier, I believe they should be up by now. If they're not, they're coming soon. So yeah, we have wristbands, tickets to our shows, and a couple of T-shirts. And also on socials, we are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all the important ones. The Twitter is at WrestleRaveHTX, like Houston, Texas. But yeah, that's where we probably post most of our stuff. Our Facebook also has some stuff as well. Yeah, and if y'all ever have any other questions or have any suggestions, fans, y'all, anybody, we are open ears. Can't guarantee it's going to happen, but we will guarantee we will consider it.
That's how I am. I'm like, when I have guests on the show, I'm like, sometimes I'll put out the feelers like, hey, we're having Josh Alexander or PCO or somebody on. If you have any questions, leave them here and you may get one on air. I've had people ask like a bunch of questions. I don't even fucking ask them, you know. Sorry, I love you guys still, but you know, shit happens. Nick, thank you very much for coming on the show. I had a great time talking wrestling with you, brother. I wish you had nothing but the best. Let's make this a fucking thing, man.
I'd love to.
You got shit coming up. You got events coming up. Let's promote them. We do it for every independent promotion we work with. And like I said, I like getting the juice out to Texas. I like getting it everywhere, all across in and out of the country. And I want to do the same for you and get that brand out there, brother. So here's to you and WrestleRave. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Until next time, brother. Wet 'em up. Wet 'em up. Wet 'em up. Oh my God, I'm so wet for WrestleRave. This shit's insane. Hey, we'll see you next week. Much love.
You gonna do sex to me?
Did you like that video? If so, be sure to hit like and subscribe and check out more killer content from your boys at Juice Pro Wrestling. Whoa, yeah!